Welcome to AIDEM Interactions. Today we have with us Seema Kohli, who is a leading multidisciplinary artist. She was the subject of a major solo exhibition at the Museum of Sacred Art in Brussels in 2019. She has previously exhibited in Venice, Melbourne, London, New York, Dubai, Singapore, and several cities of India. Her work is also featured with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the British Museum, Kiran Nadar Museum, Birthright Collective, and Rubin Museum of Art in New York. Seema Kohli is a multidisciplinary contemporary Indian artist who explores themes of femininity, beauty, and spirituality. One of the most celebrated artists in India today, her creative expression spans paintings, murals, installations, ceramics, prints, performances, and sculptures. Each medium is a unique articulation of her style, and over time, she has brought a synergy of her sensibilities to her art. Welcome to AIDEM Interactions, Seema.
Hi.
If we can begin at the very beginning, if you can tell us about your cultural heritage and your roots, what inspires your art? I believe your parents have migrated from Pakistan.
Yeah. It was, I think, a whole lot of people came in 47. I think they were here in 47 only. My father was 17. And naturally, there were a lot of stories. They left a land which they belonged to for about many generations. My ancestors, they belonged to Greater Punjab. And they had a lot of happy memories to share with us. And I was born in 60. I'm the first generation born after post-partition in India.
So you're from Delhi?
I am from Delhi through and through. I love my city, whatever, it's my my place. But there were so many stories, so many wonderful relationships that they cherished that we came to know about. And my father always was keen on us knowing our own inheritance, like our own heritage. And for that, he wrote a book, which became a very intrinsic part of my life for understanding him and many people who came after partition to India and who became this country and who built up this country the way it is, our country. So that became, during that writing of 10 years of that book, I understood a lot about my own, I must say कि अपने वजूद के बारे में पता लगा. I don't know what is the right word for it in English. So अपना वजूद जो था, that I understood.
Your identity?
Identity, yes. From that, I could understand from where things were coming. And my spiritual inheritance was that they were Advaitins and they believed in Vedanta a lot, and Advaita Vedanta. And in that, I think the idea of one supreme consciousness, that became, I think, the underlying thing of my understanding of all religions, all people, all over the world. Meeting them, I could just get Tattvamasi. Like, there is no difference between you and me. I'm you and you and me. You are me. So these, the sutras they gave us were very important, I think, in our life. They became, I think, now that they are not, my parents are not there, I understand them more, because me connecting with, it's very easy for me to connect with everyone. Because the moment I'm talking to them and I understand that there is a universal binding, the same blood that flows between you and me. There is no difference. It makes it so much more comfortable for me. It's a very nice feeling, and that is my spiritual leaning, and that's where I belong to.
That's a beautiful thought. I wanted to ask you, were you always an artist? How did art come to you?
Yes, I think I was always an artist. I don't know what I was when I was born, but by 3, I knew that this is my way of communication. This is my language. This is my identity. Because it was, I used to draw a lot at that time. My father gave me this whole bundle of colors and paper. My mother encouraged me to draw all over the walls wherever I wanted to. No one stopped me from doing anything, even on myself. I still paint on myself. So it became that people would ask me, like, what have you made and why have you made? Ye kya hai? Ye to ped lagta hi nahi hai. But for me, that was my ped. So that was it. So, but that was bringing me closer to people.
Right.
Whatever I was making on the walls, on myself, on paper, on the floor, wherever, that was bringing me closer to people. That was my mode of communication. That was my language. And I hold it still. That for me, art is not, it is a way to go. It is a very solo path. It is a way of going inwards. It is something that is very, very lonely also sometimes. But this is what brings me closer to people also. This is what is my communication.
And now you work with a lot of mediums and materials. So does your idea decide which medium you are going to choose, or is it the other way around? What is your process?
No, it is not at all anything of these. It is my image. The image that I have drawn on the canvas or on the paper, she is living. That image is alive. Even if I've drawn a tree, that tree is alive, right? It talks to me all the time and it probably wants to move. Then I have to do some movement and I do performances. If they want to be installed, I just completed an installation in steel of a tree because I thought that the tree wanted that. So for me, all these paintings or drawings or scribble, whatever you may call it, I do. Each one has a life of its own, just like each one of us, because they are also a part of that intrinsic whole, and very logically so.
Right.
They demand what they want to do.
Okay. I know you work with a lot of mediums, a lot of ideas. Is there any idea right now at the moment that's consuming you?
The idea of the feminine consumes me all the time. Okay. The idea of birth is what feminine gave me. I think the idea of Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb, is something which is very intrinsically in all my work. It consumes me, even if I'm making something very like what I was doing for Project Home. Then again, it came back to boil down to the golden womb, the idea of one universe, one space, one consciousness, the idea of blood flowing through each one of us, the same 5 elements creating and recreating us all the time. I think this is something which मुझे लेके ही जाएगा. It consumes me completely. Whole thing about collaborations, the idea of the feminine, how she collaborates with each and everything, how one breath flows into another. Maybe whatever we are talking about, the plants are keeping us alive, or we thinking we are keeping alive the nature, how the water is converting itself into all these different forms in our own body. So these aspects, which change their forms again into line and into different images on my paper. And they're constantly changing form. They are, I think, I can't say, but they are constantly inspiring me. Inspiring me is a very small word. I think now we can move on from inspiring. They consume me. I think that is more like it.
So Seema, this is the painting you're working on right now?
Yeah, it's almost done. It needs to be framed and that's it. So,
can you tell us what material you've used? This looks like gold.
Yeah, this is all 24 karat gold leaf. And below that, I took an impression of a stencil which was, I cut it out as a tree. So if you will feel this canvas, it is like a tree bark. You know, it reminds you of a tree bark. I work a lot on trees, on Tree of Life and all these, you know, various aspects of nature and Prakriti. And again, it becomes the idea of feminine that I work with. Constantly, it is in my head. Yes.
And there are lotus flowers coming out of her hair. What is the significance?
You know, the significance is very different here than... So, here I feel that here our hair are like leaves which are carrying or absorbing intuitive messages from different spaces which touches their hair through air. These are the sensors that we have, that we are born with, just like the trees are born with leaves and branches and flowers. The same way, our hair catches different intuitive messages from different universes, from different spaces and places, and they come through our brain. And the yoginis are born as lotuses through our hair, and those yoginis are the ones, as you say, that the universe will come together to help you. You know, when we want something to be done, we think it in our mind. What is our mind? Our mind is the most fertile feminine space. It is the most, जिसको कहते हैं ना, बिल्कुल उसको उधेड़ा गया है बहुत सुंदर तरीके से. And that is the space through which the yoginis are born. Yoginis are not some physical bodies. They are not mythical creatures. They are happenings. They are the feminine happenings. They are collaborators through which we collaborate different ideas, universes, different aspects of our own life, which we want to make it happen. But what are we? We are a part of that universal whole. We are just like a speck, a pore of that universal form. So each form is nudging the other form. I don't know if you can get what I'm saying.
It's very interesting.
I'm constantly living those moments, and these are the moments that make me perceive or sensitize that feminine form, that throbbing feminine form which is around us. It's constantly birthing. You know, even when we walk, of one leg comes forward and the collaboration is with the second leg. How is that happening? That is the energy. That is the feminine form. And that's why I talk about Kal, I talk about Kali, I talk about these different aspects of time. Because for me, time is very important. But who moves that time? Who is moving that time? That energy. But where is time residing? In that space. Where is that space? That space is within that universal form.
Right.
And that universal form is the feminine. Because if there is a form, if there is any physicality to a form, that is feminine. Because for me, the birthing, the natural birthing happens only through the feminine.
That is why your feminine forms are so interesting. Like she has no expression on her face.
Yeah, actually, I think the feminine form would have innumerable expressions. Why she doesn't have an expression is because long time back, earlier I was making the usual faces with eyes and lips and nose, but that is very, that brought them down to a very human level, and at some point everything resembles you yourself, and I wanted it to be something which is reflective, something which reflects the image back to you. Because if I am seeing myself in her, how do I see myself in her? If there is already a face in her.
Correct.
If she already has a face, it becomes very difficult for me. So I started, because I wanted my viewers to watch themselves in her. I wanted she to give them back their face. So that was my reason for doing this faceless kind of a thing. But she has innumerable faces because she doesn't have one.
And it's very, the energy comes through in this painting. It looks like it's in movement.
Yeah, because here, like I've tried to show, that within her womb, the whole universe is birthing. And we are connected with each other, whoever we are connected with each other because we belong to one single space. We share the same umbilical cords, all of us. Whether we believe it, we don't believe it, we respite it, we hate it, but in the end, it is.
We're all connected.
Yes, we are constantly breathing each other out.
Right.
We have no way out. We cannot survive without each other, breathing into each other. Whether we breathe it out into the universe, each plant is breathing, we are breathing, everything is breathing, everything is throbbing with life, and we are interconnecting. We are collaborators of the same universe.
And walking through your studio space, I found a lot of religious/spiritual iconography. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What is your spiritual
Religious
root, anchor,
okay.
if there is one?
Yeah, I was brought up in a very spiritual home. My grandfather, my father, extremely, I may say that they were I can't say they were agnostic, but they wanted us to believe that everything is coming out from one single space.
Okay.
There is only one conscious, supreme, pure consciousness, and there's nothing else other than that. And so that made me love everything. And the more I tried to understand, or what they made me understand, because we were brought in an Arya Samaji home where there were no idols, there was nothing, but there was a lot of talk about the Vedantic study. They were all believers of Advaitic philosophies. And there was a lot of influence of Sikhism in my house, as you see. There was a lot of, because my grandfather himself was Hafiz Quran, so there was a lot of talk about, Islam and Sufism more, not more about Islam, but a lot to do with Sufism. And in Punjab, I don't think there is any household which does not have anything to do with Sufism, because that earth that breeds so many Sufi saints. So, yeah.
So is there any particular tradition you follow, or?
No, I don't. I don't follow any particular tradition. It's all a mixed bag. But tantric, this thing which allows me to make my own rituals, make my own. It doesn't stop you from believing anything. I think I'm more interested in that because it is closer to the feminine aspect also.
Right.
So I like to.
Okay, so that reflects in your art as well.
Yeah, it does.
The concept of Kal and as you just explained.
But they are all there in all the Eastern studies, Western studies, all these concepts are there. Then the terminology is different, the names are different, maybe a different, specification about their physicality is different, and then the mythic images are different, but the root content, as far as I understand, with my limited knowledge, I have not found anyone talking about anything else other than the oneness or the idea of love. And that's what I believe in. The idea of love is intrinsic. And that what drives me to everything. I only talk about love. Like some days back, somebody told me that, what are you talking about? The idea of love should be dropped as hot brick. And I said, well, I don't know. But that's what my whole thing is. I don't believe in anything else except love.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little difficult question. So in today's polarizing times where everybody is being pushed to one way or the other, what sort of message would you like to give through your art?
I'm not a politician.
Yes.
I don't give messages. I'm a soul rider, like a solo rider and a soul rider also. I walk my own path. I don't give messages to anyone. Even sometimes, even if any artist asks me, what should I do? I said, apne raste pe chalo, ekla chalo. That is the only way. And believe in what you do. I have nothing to do about what people are doing, what people are not doing. Am I doing the right thing? Am I walking the right path? Am I believing in and doing what I believe in? That's enough. And that's my message, I guess. That's true.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.